What's up guys, it's Kelruz and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be revisiting the Twink series, and in this guide I'm going to provide you guys with my personal ranking for all the different classes in all three brackets with minor tidbits of information about strengths, weaknesses and more. All of this with the aim of helping you guys pick your Twink come phase 2 and the release of the honor system. I'm going to cover the three brackets in consecutive order, and within each section I'll rank every class in my tier list, from below average to average and finally above average. Please remember that there's a lot of fun in making something quote-unquote unviable work, so don't be disheartened if you see your class listed as below average. If you want to know more about one specific class, I have a running series on my channel where I will cover each individual class more in depth with talent builds, rotation, best in slot gear and more. Anyway guys, let's jump right in. The level 19 bracket, as expected, is the most unbalanced of the three. That said, it also has the advantage of being the easiest to get into and as a result is quite popular. This bracket is honestly dominated by three main classes, plus an additional one that arguably can be put in the mix. In this bracket you'll be able to take advantage of the discombobulator array, flash and bronze bombs, the explosive sheep, and some more less exciting engineering gadgets. With regards to consumables, you're only able to use swiftness potions, magic dust and the large rope net. You also have some elixirs, but most of which are quite underwhelming. In the below average tier, funnily enough, we find the kings of endgame PvP, Mage and Warrior. Mages get their highest rank Frostbolt at level 14 and don't have enough of their impactful talents online yet, nor can you get much spell damage gear at this point. Warriors are just, well, straight up bad. They don't have deep wounds or any of their other impactful talents yet. Somewhere between below average and average we find the Warlock. The Warlock dots simply don't do a lot of damage at level 19, but because of Fear being available so early, they're slightly better than the two bottom feeders. Around the middle of the pack we have Druids and Shamans, both of which haven't quite yet gotten to benefit from their vast toolkit yet, but they both have healing capabilities and naturally do better because of that. Somewhere between average and top tier we have the Rogue. Level 19 Rogue Twinks are excellent for ambush one-shot montages, but that's basically the extent of their usage. They don't have crippling poison yet, so they get kited very easily. And with Riposte and Vanish being unlocked in the next bracket, it's not a particularly good time to be a Rogue. I personally could justify swapping the Priest with the Rogue here, but in my Rogue Twinking guide I caught a lot of slack for having that opinion. I've somewhat taken it to heart and could sort of agree that maybe I was in the wrong here. I guess it's all personal opinion in the end. Anyway, Power Word Shield is insanely strong this early on, and since priests have one specialization they can better take advantage of the Gravestone Scepter. Meeting a 19 Twink Priest is the most annoying thing in the history of mankind, since they're effectively unkillable and all they do is slowly rot you down to 0, and watch as you give up throwing your monitor out the window. Paladins are just straight up overpowered because they have so many different utility spells like Bubble, Holy Light, Hodge, Bop, Freedom, Lay on Hands, Blessing of Might and Wisdom, and that's not even everything. Their toolkit is absolutely insane for such a low level. Combine this with the Searing Blade and you'll be dunking on everyone in your vicinity. Hunters are, well, they're hunters. They basically just do insane damage, most of which coming from their auto attacks and multi-shots. Combine that with a pet and concussive shot at a level range where there exists few counters to this and you're basically unbeatable. Moving on, we have the next bracket, level 29. In this section we'll see some shakeup in our rankings, so sit tight. Some of the notable engineering gadgets for this bracket are the Goblin Rocket Helmets, Gnomish Netomata Projectors, and of course Iron Grenades. You also get to take advantage of free action potions, magic protection potions, jungle remedies, rage potions, and more. As a side note here, and partly why the bracket isn't just all hunters and paladins, the Gnomish racial unlocks the Gnomish Battle Chicken and Death Ray. It technically unlocks the Mind Control Cap too, but that is BoE and can be used with less skill, so that one is actually available to anyone, even if you need engineering skill above 225 to craft it. The other two items are otherwise unobtainable in this bracket, so gnomes are pretty strong. This alone shoves warriors, mages and warlocks further up the ladder, and because rogues weren't good enough already, they now get even better. The Death Ray basically one-shots any and all players at this level range, and the chicken is just flat out overpowered for DPS. Although less bursty of course. Anyway, at the bottom of the tier, once more, I'm gonna have to place the warrior, seemingly alone. It's just bad, unfortunately. Above it, in the average tier, we find many classes, and this just goes to show how much more fun this bracket is than 19. Since you can make basically anything work, assuming you put in the effort to gear, farm consumables, etc. Paladins are beasts with Corpse Maker, but no longer stomp on people in the same way as earlier. Mages get Cone of Cold, a decent rank of Frostbolt, and a high rank Scourge at level 28. Warlocks get Succubus, high rank Curse of Agony, and Shadowbolt, which actually hits like a truck, and like the mage, benefits greatly from more spell damage gear being available. Druids are just overall good, with most of their boomkin spells hitting like trucks, as well as being able to stealth, which they couldn't at 19. But they desperately want that last level to unlock Travel Form and become gods of flag carrying. Shamans don't have Wind Fury yet, so you'll most likely be Elemental or Resto, or some sort of weird hybrid. And honestly, your damage isn't very good, but of course you have heals and otherwise a rich toolkit to offset being put with the Warrior. Lastly, Priests deal pretty insane damage, so I'm gonna put them at the top of the average tier. In the above average tier, we have Hunters and Rogues. Well, TLDR, Rogues are just very good in this bracket, with Crippling Poison and Repose coming online, allowing them to less easily get kited by Hunters. Hunters are good for the same reasons as earlier, but now by level 29 they unlock Aim Shot rank 1 and 2, which is kind of hilarious since it basically just one-shots people. Alright guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If you are, go ahead and drop a like on the video. I know this gets super annoying to hear, but it really helps the algorithm, pushing my videos out to more people. Thanks in advance, guys. Anyway, it's time to wrap it up with the final section, level 39. In this bracket, you can cap your professions, meaning you can essentially use all the engineering items and consumables that don't have a level cap on them. The balance in this bracket is pretty alright, but warriors still suck since they don't have Mortal Strike yet. It's a shame no one actually cares about 49 or 59 twinking, at least I don't, because warriors are actually pretty good there. In the average tier, once again, we find shamans. They're better than before, but still not quite strong enough to make it into the top tier. Same rules apply for the priest and the mage, the last of which really wants that final level to unlock Ice Barrier. Hunters, for the first time, now find themselves in the average tier too. I guess I could justify placing them higher up since, well, they're hunters and they have an OP toolkit. But their damage in this bracket isn't overwhelming. They're obviously still very good though. In the top tier we find paladins. Pair their rich toolkit with a Nightblade and, well, you're insane. Warlocks now get Fellhunter, High Agony, Siphon Life, and Shadowbolt ranks, and since there are now many more spell damage items available for use, like the Staff of Jordan, they're absolute beasts too. Druids can't power shift yet, so you basically want to go for some sort of hybrid spec. But with Travel Form available before anybody else has their mounts, a couple of Druids are practically mandatory for objectives in any pre-made Twink group. With good damage and strong heals on top of that, you're a top tier pick for 39 twinking. Finally, unsurprisingly, we have the Rogue. Honestly, there's not much to say about them. They're just the perfect class for PvP with many options of crowd control and high burst potential. Alright guys, that wraps it up for now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's gonna help you pick which class you want to twink next, and best of luck with gearing it. In other news, I want to leave you guys with a minor mention that I just discovered. Unlike what you could on private servers, you can't use the Furbolg Medicine Pouch on level 19 twinks, even if you manage to get it. So don't go farming, guys. Anyway, have a wonderful day onwards, and peace.
Perfect.
Born and raised in Dalaran, I master the arcane. All them raids wanna invite me cause my damage is insane. In addition, I bring food and drinks, I'm a vending machine. Owning everybody in duels, making Aspen complain. Nobody can fuck with me, I am the fucking law. In both PvE and PvP, I rule them all. Rank 1 Frostbolt, Scourge